I had gotten up for work and he said, "Mom, I'm really sore." He had a fever, and right away you think the flu. And I said, "Look, there's a walk-in that's open till 8 o'clock. Let's just get down there." And it was that doctor that said he had a really bad ear infection in his left ear. And then about 5 minutes later says, "Wow, he's got a heart murmur." I said, "That's it, we're taking him to a children's hospital."
When we saw him, the murmur was clearly related to obstruction based on how it sounded. And we did an echocardiogram, which is an ultrasound that looks at the heart, and what we saw was his heart was very thickened. He was 11 years old at the time, and his heart was thicker than most adult humans should be.
Everybody said I was crazy. When you realize that you were right and everybody else was wrong, I wish they were right. I wish they were right.
That was a heavy day when I found out about my heart condition, because 2 years before that, my dad had passed away. So it was definitely a lot. And I remember crying. I remember being upset.
Very nerve-wracking, very upsetting, but also very grateful that we got diagnosed and that they didn't catch it in an autopsy, because that was something that they said. Not every day they diagnose an 11-year-old with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. We usually catch it in an autopsy because it's too late.
I think had that murmur not been heard, and although we can't predict the future based on his echocardiogram and what we know are dangerous risk factors for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, we would expect that perhaps he may not have been alive today.
My late husband was diagnosed at 27 years old. He passed away in 2014. He was 33. If I hadn't spoken to as many people I did on his heart journey, there's no way I would have ever taken my child to a children's hospital. I would have chalked it up to he had a fever, he had a flow murmur, and that would have been that.
The original pacemakers that in part were supported by research from the American Heart Association were huge things. I mean, they were the best things we had going then. And over time, those pacemakers have gotten smaller and smaller to where their size almost of a quarter.
When I got mine, they said I would be able to do it through Wi-Fi, and pretty soon I'll be able to just use my phone.
So research that's supported by the American Heart Association has been instrumental in advancing the health care of Americans. Technology continues to improve because of that research, and now there are actually more adults alive with congenital and inherited heart disease than there are children with congenital heart disease.
And now he's at the point now where he's kind of grown up in front of me, essentially. So a lot of these patients are sort of like my own children, just because we're proud of their accomplishments.
We have a lot more knowledge than we did 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, and there's a lot of hope for technology in the future.
I mean, there are plenty of things that I wouldn't have been able to fathom, but just living on my own, driving my car, going and walking to my classes, living in Tampa, I mean, these are all things that would have blown my mind if you told me. I would have had no clue where I'd be today.
I am very proud of my son. He has persevered through a lot in life. Just how far he's come, I believe he'll thrive in anything that he does, and I couldn't be prouder.
I know my dad would be very proud of where I am, as I'm the first one in the family to go to college. I knew that would make him proud. So definitely a big thing, me being here. I'm so grateful that the American Heart Association funded the research that saved my life.